Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So, and then, so what was that process like? I know, your wife told me about on her story. She told me how she took, massive heat from it when she walked away. But she also said something too. I don't want to steal your thunder. I don't want to steal your thunder a little bit, but like,
Yeah.
she also kind of told me that you were just like sitting around waiting for that to happen, right? So, like, yeah, you want to share that?
All right, here's the story. So I left the religion. I'm out of the religion now. It's 1997. But in 2002, or three, no, I think it was three. There's a local weatherman that I was friends with, but I hadn't spoken with in a while. And my mother had told me that he was going to be going to the memorial, for, that the Jehovah's Witnesses hold once a year. They hold a memorial for Jesus, to remember his death and why he died. But since the early 90s, his Jesus Memorial has been more of a recruiting effort than anything at all. But so I agreed to go to this memorial to run into my weatherman friend that was a weatherman on a local TV station. And I didn't realize that this whole line of traffic was people trying to go to this Jehovah's Witness memorial. And so I needed to get over really bad. And none of the Jehovah's Witnesses let me over. They just looked straight ahead, like, I don't see you, And so finally I pulled up next to a random car and I held up my Bible like, hey, I'm going where you're going. Can you please let me in? And they did. And so after everything was done, getting ready to go home, I just left a thank you note in a Ziploc bag because it was raining. And I put my phone number on there. And that it was a girl. It was two girls, but I was only interested in the one. And that girl is now my wife and has been my wife for, since '05. So
Yeah.
20 years.
Right. So,
So,
yeah.
but I had to go back into that lion's den, back into the Jehovah's Witness organization. But it was painful. I did it just for her because I just fell head over heels for it. And it was painful. And because I have ADHD really bad.
Mhm.
And so I just don't want to listen to what they're saying. I don't want to hear what they're saying, or I'm in my Bible and I look legit, but I'm not reading what they're reading. I'm reading other stuff, so it looks
Yeah.
like I'm following along, but I wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. For sure. Well, yeah.
I
So,
knew it
hey,
was
at least something
nonsense.
good came out of that. You know what I'm saying? And then
Yeah.
when your wife came along and she had enough of it, and she's like, yeah. Then you were like, yeah, let's go. Like you didn't even need to
Yeah.
be asked twice, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
There was during it was during COVID, for the first 3 months of COVID. So that was like March, April, May, when COVID was first announced in 2020. And then the Jehovah's Witnesses said nothing about COVID. They've always been anti-vaccinations in the past. They said the vaccinations were from the devil. And then suddenly they were like, you need to get vaccinated. Pride comes before the fall. And I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? They're not going to say stuff like this about the vaccination unless they're benefiting from it.
Right.
And sure enough, the federal government was giving out $121 million, in grants to people that pushed the COVID vaccine. And that was the line for me. I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah, man, and also too during the research I did, like I said, the follow up episode where I clapped back at all the JWs that were throwing rocks at me.
Yeah.
Your wife had told me that at the highest levels of the Jehovah's Witness, they run massive. This wasn't uncommon, or this is not uncommon in the organization is what I'll call it. Is what I'll try to remain as respectful as possible,
Right.
because there are people that are in there that I feel that are probably ignorant or innocent of the fact that they believe what they're doing on that. But anyway,
Yeah.
so that takes us back onto the topic, Freemasonry in the
Yep.
in the organizations. You want to dive into that a little bit there, Nathan? What turned you on to that, by the way?
Um, Honestly, I really don't remember what it was that sparked it. I just remember because I'm watching their stuff all day long. I'm watching their videos. Like, this is like all I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that they kind of looked familiar to me, but in a different way. And it was just the thought was put in my head, like, hey, Freemasons. I'm a full believer in Holy Spirit, talking to you and so forth.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.